Hello, my name is Jacob, and welcome to my new YouTube channel, Rhythm and Riffs. The reason I'm creating this channel is pretty much just because I like jazz. It's been a big part of my life, and there's lots of communities out there where people come together for jazz and stuff like that, but I just wanted to make my own and see if I could build a community where we just learn and appreciate the art of jazz. Did that sound scripted? It probably did. I don't have a script. I'm just kind of going off of my mind here because this is the first video. I don't really know what I'm supposed to do. That's why I'm here in my upstairs guest bedroom right now. Before I share what I want to do in this YouTube channel, let me share a little bit about myself first. My name is Jacob, like I said, Jacob Walters. I recently graduated from high school. I'm not going to say which one. And jazz was just a huge part of my high school career. Freshman year, how I got into it, freshman year, I didn't even make the soccer team. I didn't make the soccer team, so I had an extra elective, and then I was put into PE. And then because our jazz group was so small, they needed another trumpet player. By the way, I play trumpet if you didn't know, and piano. But anyway, and they needed an extra trumpet player, and that's how I was first introduced to jazz. I played for my concert and marching band, but didn't really have any passion for playing music until I joined jazz. I remember my first chart that I played was Orange Drink. Oh my goodness. It was something. And after that year, I was kind of hooked on, and I didn't try out for soccer again, and I stayed to the class. Going into my sophomore year, I never had any knowledge or practice of a region band. Oh my goodness, what a nightmare that was. I literally had nightmares from that place. Just the thought of going into a room with everyone eyeing you down the back of your head has to be a relatable experience, right? Like, how are you not nervous in that situation? But anyway, I never really had any interest for it, besides the fact that I got to solo and try improv there for the first time. And, of course I bombed it. They take 10. I probably got like 42nd or something like that. Didn't really care for region. So, I decided I would try and take an improv solo for the very first time. And my first chart was A Warm Breeze. That had the first ever improv solo that was given to me. And it went pretty well. I had braces. It was okay. It was just like, a 30-second solo. But that opened the door a lot for me going into my junior year. Going into my junior year was great. I really enjoyed my jazz junior year because I finally stepped up and started to love jazz. And I wanted to do a lot more. So, Christmas concert comes around. I signed up for a night in Tunisia. I'm out here. I perform a solo on that, a little one in Jingle Bells, and then I had my first ever cadenza at the end of A Night in Tunisia, and then that's where, I tried the... That probably sounded really crappy on my iPhone camera. Anyway, and I absolutely loved that experience, so I decided I would take on even more during my concert season. I passed on region because I didn't really care for it. I never really cared for region, I'm going to be honest. But I performed 2 solos that year in Cruisin' for a Bluesin' and a song called Giddy Up. And I loved every second of it. It was nerve-wracking having 2 solos back-to-back and stuff like that, especially because I had a solo break in Cruisin' for a Bluesin', but it went well, and that was the first ever time that I received certificates, aka solo awards. Let me show you what that looks like. Okay, so I actually have a lot. I have 6 And I have most of them framed, so I'll just show you an example. They come in little certificate binders like this. I didn't bring all of them upstairs, but I brought a few. And I got awards for many places that year. That was my first time getting an award. It looks something like this. This is from the Mark of Excellence National Jazz Honors. That was an online one. Or you could get it from some colleges, like for instance this one. I got a solo award at the Temple Jazz Fest. And that sparked a lot. And my junior year was also the year where I gained my first award for jazz at my band banquet, being the Most Improved Jazz Member Award. I'm trying to cover the name of my school. Most Improved Jazz Member, 2023 to 2024, Jacob Walters. After I got that award, the door flung open. At that point, I was listening to jazz on the daily, practicing all the time, really kind of shutting out concert band and focusing more on jazz because how much more I enjoyed it. And by that point, I was second chair. I have this really good friend who was first chair, really good at hitting high notes and stuff like that, really good lead player. And I was always that backup second trumpet because second trumpet always gets the solos. Anyway, that skyrocketed it for me, and most people, they like to take their senior year back, they like to kick it and relax, but not for jazz. Going into my senior year, I actually wanted to try and make a region band, so I spent a good amount of time, and I earned myself the lead trumpet for the second band. They take 10, I was 6th out of like 40 people, around that. And that was my first time being in any type of region band. And I was the lead for the second group. I literally just said that, no one cares. Anyway, and that opened a big door for me. I played like a flugelhorn solo and stuff like that. And then I got hungrier. So that year I had, classics like In the Mood solos, Jingle Bell solos, and I even had a main feature during contest season in Besame Mucho. Let me make sure it's still recording. And during my senior year, it got to the point where I was really, really, really obsessed with jazz and literally played it basically every day. Practicing, I practiced all the time. I sang all the time. I worked with all my friends on jazz stuff. Started trying to make TikToks and little side pieces, and I'll get into that more in a bit. And in the end, it all worked out because I was started from a kid that didn't even take jazz band in middle school, had nothing to do with jazz, and was just thrown in to earning the Louis Armstrong Jazz Award. Now, if you don't know what that is, every year, sometimes there's a runner-up award, sometimes there's not, but in a jazz program, there is an award that's given out once a year to a senior, one student throughout the entire year that was, I don't even know. Let me just read it for you. How about that? In recognition of outstanding achievements in the field of jazz as demonstrated through superior musicianship, character, and individual creativity, the Louis Armstrong Award is hereby presented to Jacob Walters. That's what it is. And the runner-up was that lead trumpet that I was talking about, one of my good friends. And I went from a nobody that didn't even know how to do improv correctly, so I would just make a solo up and then memorize it and play the same thing every time, to getting one of the hardest, if not the hardest award in high school jazz, the Louis Armstrong Award. And it gets me a trophy, a plaque, a paper, and my name on the wall. So if you don't think you can trust me to help with jazz or talk about jazz, this is the only form of credibility I have. With that out of the way, I'm sorry you had to hear that. You know, I just figured I'd tell a little about myself. Yeah, no one wants to hear about a kid's high school career, whatever. Now let me get into about the channel. So my channel is going to be about multiple things. I don't want it to be one singular type of video or anything like that. So I split it into multiple categories. I'm going to be posting tips. I'm going to be posting special things for trumpets, beginning things, like if you're starting out in jazz, you don't know improv, you don't understand chords, you don't understand rhythms and beats and how to practice. So like tips and tricks. I'm also going to be doing, you know, just jazz. You know, some people, like if you go look online, they'll just post a lick that they learned. I want to share some of my jazz things that I learned and just kind of post them to let everyone see, you know, judge, talk about, and really just bring people closer. I'm sorry, I have no idea what I'm talking about. It's hard to put it into words. I felt like it would be a little weird to put it into a script and then just sound like a robot the entire time. Anyway, back to it. I also have a lot of really talented musician friends that are in bands. I even have a good friend who got another award at my school for a concert band, and he's right now going to UT to study and be a jazz teacher. So you know he's got the goods. You know, I want to post things to help other people, things to help like advanced people, beginners. I want to post just videos of music, you know, tips and tricks, Q&As, and I want it to go deep. I want advanced things that I might not just talk about. I might bring some of my jazz friends on that really know what they're talking about. Like for instance, chords. Oh my goodness. I hate talking about chords. I just play, and if it sounds good, it sounds good. But, you know, chords are important, so I would bring someone on and let me talk about them. And I play a couple instruments. I don't play a lot of, I really don't play any wooden instruments, so I would bring people on to help with that. You know, instrument tips, music tips, if you're just getting started. Anyway, I just want to build, or at least attempt to build, a community where everyone can come together and just appreciate jazz. I mean, I went from a nobody that didn't even know jazz was a different type of music to someone who literally listens to it on the daily and appreciates it. And I would like to build a community where people can just be there. You want to talk about jazz, you need help with something, you want to talk about your experience, you want to listen to it, jazz, you want whatever you want. I want to be, or to build a community off of that. So if you are interested, please stick around. I'm not the most talented guy. I can't edit. I don't have any expensive camera or microphones or anything like that. I just have a love for jazz and jazz friends. That's why I'm kind of recording this as a interrogation. This is kind of scary, you know, I don't have anything, it's just kind of you. Sorry if I've been looking into your soul, looking around. But I don't want it to be complicated, I just want it to be simply down to business. So anyway, thank you for sticking around for so long, if you've even made it this far, and I hope to see you in the future.